Have you ever had a thought like, I'm too old to learn to swim, or I'm never going to be a strong swimmer, or the water is scary and dangerous, or I don't belong here at the pool or at the beach or on the boat with the snorkelers, or maybe it's to be safe, I need to be a strong swimmer, or I don't float, or you need to float to be able to swim. These are all examples of limiting beliefs that I hear from people who are beginning adult swimmers. They seem like just thoughts or facts or truths about the world, but they really limit one's capacity to grow as a swimmer. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is to make sure your thoughts are not holding you back from becoming the swimmer you want to be, or holding your students back on becoming the swimmer they want to be by these subtle statements that they keep repeating in their head. Let me start today telling you about, we're going to call her Dr. D. She's a student that I had for quite a while, and she was doing a really good job. We had mastered so many skills. She was swimming around in the deep end, and we were going to the bottom and the top, and she'd get air and rest, and things, really kind of were progressing beautifully. But there was this element that was missing for her. You could tell she wasn't quite fully embodying the confidence in which she was displaying of her skill level. Her physical skill level checked all the boxes, but between her and I could see it and she could feel it, that there was some confidence piece that just really wasn't there. And as we went through this and we started to look at it, and she had told me this story before, and she'd told me this story numerous times, and I realized, it's her limiting belief about this story that is holding her back from really claiming all that confidence. She had a time where she did do swimming things. She was on a boat on vacation and everybody's jumping off the boat, and she decided, you know what? I am just gonna do it. I am going for it. And she jumped in off that boat and she went down and she nearly died. She saw her life flash before her eyes. It seemed like it took 1,000,000 years for her to come up to the top. When she got to the top, she was thrashing and it was terrible. And all she could vision is how sad her mother was going to be to have her daughter die, and her children to see her 2 daughters grow up without a mother. She had told this story lots of different times of how she nearly died. So for her, swimming really comes up with this story of, I nearly died. And this was a limiting belief for her. The truth is, she didn't die. The truth is, when she jumped in, she had a life jacket on. And we started to talk about this and started to really think about it. And she'd had enough experiences, and we had done life jacket work, and we'd done work without life jackets of going down. And I said to her, knowing what you know now about the water and about buoyancy and your buoyancy and a buoyancy of the life jacket, let's really stop and look and think about for a second. When you jumped off that boat, how long do you think it really took you to get to the lowest point and took you to get back up to the top? And she paused and kind of thought about this and came to realize, wait a second, that was maybe 5 seconds. But when you're in trauma brain, or when you're in like crisis brain, how things can really seem to slow down and be exaggerated. I had that happen when I fell off of a ladder and I broke my foot, as it turned out. But I can see the moments of me falling, right? Like we have this slow down effect. And she had had this slow down effect for this going down and coming to the surface. And she had repeated this story. She's a very gregarious person. She'd repeated this story in this very dramatic way over and over and over again about how she almost died. And we slowed it down and really kind of brought it into the information that she had today. And to see that, wait a second, this thing that I have been basing how I trust my swimming, how I think about swimming, how I think about the water, was 5 seconds of my life. This made a huge shift for her. It was very subtle to go from I nearly died to I felt very afraid for 5 seconds. And to come to realize the fullness of this story of like, wait a second, I didn't die. I felt something scary for 5 seconds and I didn't die. Suddenly, we go from having this limiting belief, I nearly died, which feels terrible in her body. And that's repeating in the back of her head, maybe not out loud repeating in her head, but it is in there. And we see it in the response. We see it in the way she feels being in the water, that she doesn't feel completely at ease and confidence. Even though we'd made huge strides, there was this knot that was still limiting her, this limiting belief. But when we shifted the story, it feels a little bit better. Just shifted it to still being in truth, not like I knew what I was doing and everything was fine. We don't need a Pollyanna story. We just need to shift it so it feels a little better in the body. It still resides in truth, right? The truth is she did jump and go down and come up, and we're guesstimating based on what we know about buoyancy and how these things work, 5 seconds about, and we know she didn't die. We know she chose to put the life jacket on. She looked ahead for her own safety to make sure that her mother didn't have to bury her daughter, right? She put these safety things in place. She knew how to look ahead for herself. Suddenly, we took the power out of that story. Suddenly, we took that story and started to empower her instead of disempower her. This is our job as learners and as teachers to really look and see, are the beliefs, are the sentences in my head, are they giving me in a growth mindset, or are they putting me in a fixed mindset? Are they expanding my way of being, helping me feel better about myself and the water that is still truthful, and helping me grow in curiosity and trust? Or am I keeping a mindset that is fixed, that holds on to this feeling of danger or dread or lack of confidence? This is what we want to do as coaches and learners, to be looking for these things with calm curiosity, not to blame ourselves or to get upset that she'd been carrying this story around. The old story actually was useful for a lot of time, that it did keep her away from doing things that were too risky and too outside of what she was ready for. But we had to make the shift in these limiting beliefs to be able to really open up her swimming journey to be what she really wanted it to be, which is to have this calm confidence and safety in the water. This is what learning online does for you. This is what coming in and having a coach who actually knows how to look for these things and to talk about these things, to have training to help students to be able to figure things out so we can go beyond just moving our arms and legs, but to actually get to the root of what is going to make us thrive as amazing, beautiful swimmers. All right. Aloha.